Republicans, Democrats, and the media. Karen Travers, ABC News White House correspondent. Good morning, Karen Travers.
Good morning.
Tell us about the reaction to what happened yesterday.
Well, this was a really remarkable moment, not one that we see often, if we haven't ever in the past, with administrations, where they opened up a negotiation meeting. And it was the president, it was Republicans and Democrats, and it was a freewheeling 55 minutes where, this wasn't just, we saw this with healthcare in the early days of the Obama administration. They had big panel discussions and everybody was trying to formulate policy or, it was more wonky. Everybody knows where everybody stands on this. They're all coming to the table with what they want, and it was going back and forth on how to get to an agreement on DACA, on the broader issue of immigration reform, and also that spending bill that needs to be addressed on January 19th. Now, there is certainly a lot of talk in Washington about this being a very clear effort by the White House to push back on a lot of the fallout from that book that came out last week by Michael Wolff. Many days of questions, tweets from the president pushing back on this notion that he is not fit to serve in office, certainly by allowing cameras in for a 55-minute meeting that he's leading, bouncing around the room, taking questions, weighing in on things. They feel like this was a success to push back on that notion.
Yeah,
some will still say that the president also contradicted himself several times in this meeting and maybe opened up a couple headaches, cans of worms for Republicans on immigration.
Yeah, so he said that he doesn't care what's put on his desk. He'll sign whatever puts on his desk, which people are wondering, well, wait a minute, you ran as immigration as your number one priority, and you don't care what they put on your desk?
Yeah, he said he would take the heat, take the political heat, so it wasn't on lawmakers. And he said, I respect everybody in this room. If they come back to me with an agreement, I'll sign it. Well, that certainly has some of his supporters a little concerned about what that could mean. Amnesty is an issue that they would throw out there as a big problem for them of who gets protections and for how long, and what's the bigger conversation about comprehensive immigration reform. Because, of course, this is still in the early stages on that big picture issue. The other thing I think, too, is just what does the president want to see? Because we hear from the White House, well, he wants border security. He wants an end to the visa lottery system. He wants an end to chain migration, as they call it. And he wants a permanent fix for DACA. But he wants all of that together in one giant pot, if you will. Democrats are pushing for DACA to be dealt with separately, just DACA. And at one point yesterday, the senator from California, Dianne Feinstein, was saying that, and the president said, yeah, I agree with that. And he had to be interrupted by a Republican leader who said, no, that's not what we want. So a little bit of confusion here and there. And even as we asked Sarah Sanders questions about this yesterday, she just kept saying, here are the four things that he wants: border security, family migration, visa lottery, DACA. But of course, do you do all that at the same time? Because that's not what Democrats want. We'll see.
What about the wall? Now, are they hedging on the wall now, too?
Yeah, so the president was asked specifically about that by my colleague John Carl, and he says, yes, the wall has to be a part of anything on DACA. But some Republicans are saying that they think he would back away from the physical wall, that it could be a fence, it could be a different concept in different places. But the White House says, yes, the president is insisting that any deal on DACA has to include that border security, the wall specifically.
What if they just put up some type of emotional wall? See, they say that's the type of comedy you get in the Midwest, Karen Travers.
I laughed. I liked it.
You're going to steal it later today. You're going to steal it. I know you are.
I will give you full credit.
What about he wants a bill of love? That sounds very similar to what Jeb Bush called immigration was an act of love.
Yeah.
Anybody make the correlation?
That was certainly noted by some people on social media of who was leading that meeting? Was it President Jeb Bush or was it President Donald Trump? I mean, the White House didn't really explain what he meant by that. He has said in the past he wants to show compassion, especially to the dreamers. We asked him many times in the fall, what is your message to dreamers? And he always says, you'll be taken care of. You shouldn't be worried. Well, they are worried. I mean, this deadline on March 5th when the whole program ends completely is coming up quickly, and it's unclear right now how they're going to get to this permanent solution.
And so the shutdown is just a few days away. What's the thought leaving the meeting?
I think the gut sense on that right now from talking to both sides is that, stop me if you've heard this before, they'll probably do another short-term spending bill just to get past January 19th. We were joking, but it's not a joke on Capitol Hill of like, can they do this forever? Like just fund the government in 2-week increments from now until infinity. It certainly seems like they're trying to right now.
Karen Travers, ABC News correspondent. Thanks for the update. Have a good day.